Thank you guys for joining us. As I'm sure you all know by now, I am Kendall Wright. I'm the marketing track captain, along with my co-captain, Ramon Mendez, who is over in the chat, moderating the chat. I am thrilled today to introduce you all to Brian Tamayo. He is a creative strategist at Capital One, our presenting sponsor, and he has put together today a presentation called Neatly Put Together about well, I'll let him speak about it, but it's about being organized and finding your customer and being in the right place to give you some foundations for marketing. So I am so happy to have him here. He is based in Plano, but obviously everyone is working remotely right now. So he is broadcasting live from his house in Plano, and we are so thrilled to have a member from Capital One. So with that being said, Brian, I'm going to hop off and turn it over to you, and Ramon and I will be in the comments if anything goes wrong.
All right, thanks, Kendall. I appreciate you giving that awesome setup, and excited to be here today. So let's get started. So to really understand our customers, the first place that we need to look is in the mirror and reflect upon the behaviors that make us, well, us. Because all people are uniquely different, and we have our own unique experiences and personalities that drive us. And as people, we have our own way and our own path. But as customers, we come together for a shared experience, and we all shoot for the same outcome. How we get to that shared outcome is totally up to us. So this is neatly put together by me, Brian Tamayo. So as customers, we custom build from our ending first. It's never, how do I get there? That's not the first thing we think. We think, where am I going, right? Sometimes it's a struggle to even get on the road to where we're going, right? Just do it and, get started. In fact, you are the customer when you are yourself. My grandma would always tell me, Brian, you should always be yourself. Unless you happen to be a mirror, then it's okay to be somebody else. We put the custom in customer. I mean, literally the word custom is in the word customer. Think about it. Like, how many times have you seen this word and maybe you saw it the very first time you saw the word, but like, it is in there. It's a custom experience. Each customer is different. However, like I said, we share outcomes. Whether you're marketing to a customer or a customer being marketed to, both are focused on that shared outcome or goal. Whether that's buying a car, a computer, something super big like a house, maybe it's just shared experience, right? You're going to a dance class, or you're going to a movie. In fact, our pathways are more diverse the further away we are from our goal. And your customers, as you probably know, don't always follow the path that you designed for them. And you know what? Neither do we. We're not any better, right? Whether you're catching a movie time or a super awesome, important Dallas Startup Week talk, we all have our own journey and obstacles we face. It's never just like a straight line. We're all coming from different places. In fact, if you want to get in the head of your customer, really it all rests on your shoulders. Literally, like it's up here, because we're all customers with insight that we can all learn from. And it starts with you. But you know what? It's not just you. It's not just every customer experience, but it's really a balance between connecting with your customers in respect to their personal journey. So We're going to dig into that a lot more throughout the presentation. This is two examples of what they call desire paths. The one on the left is the most traditional, the most common. You know, how many times have you seen in a presentation where it's like, hey, this is modern, this is actual UX in practice, right? Even though we have this awesome sidewalk that's paved, you know, it's not going to get muddy during a rain. This is the way you should go, but this is the way that people actually go. You know, why do they go that way? You know, is it because it's just more scenic? I don't know. Like, why do we do this? Why do we break these perfectly created paths for us, even though they're made for us? We end up going a different way. You know, why do we do that? What's the most optimal path for you? On the right, under this disguise of the dashboard and the navigation system, this is a modern day desire path. How many times have you put down directions in Maps or Waze or some other navigation system and said, hey, I want to go here. This is how long it's going to take. I'm going to choose the fastest route. It's going to go through, look at all the important data and the satellite information, and it's going to tell you the fastest way to get there. Even though it's the fastest, like, how many times have you taken a detour on one of your turns? It's like, oh, you know, I'm not going to go that way because this is the way I like to go. You know, why do you like to go that way? Even though it's telling you like, hey, you're going to add 5 minutes to your time. Why do you do that? Why do we do that? So let's dig into two things that are key in understanding why this is: order and intention. To understand how to guide customers through their experiences, we must first aim to design for order and intention, whether it's in the first step in your journey or the last. You need to connect it to a moment inside of an experience that motivates your customers. So I'm going to put myself on the screen here, and I'm going to walk you through some of my daily experiences. So first and foremost, these are all experiences that I deal with every day and that are important to me. Supporting my family, you know, in so many different ways. Like, this is a huge experience for me that I work on daily. And, you know, some of it is work. It's also, some of it is enjoyment and, you know, just love. But yeah, there's a lot of work too, especially, you know, my work is being challenged with this virtual learning situation. So, but it's work too. So, maintaining my car, my house, you know, just the things that I need to make sure that, you know, are provided for not just for me, but, you know, my family as well. And I like to say balancing the good food and the bad food. I say balance because I know I'm going to have a little bit of both. Hopefully they'll kind of cancel out. Growth in design and arts. I just love learning. Well, just learning about everything, but design and arts most specifically. And, you know, just storytelling in so many of the different mediums, like TV, podcasts, audiobooks, just traditional books. Just love to read and enjoy stories in all different ways. All of these experiences are all things that vie for my attention daily. Like, so if I'm going to introduce a new experience, if it's buying a computer or shopping for a car or whatever, that has to fit somewhere between one of these or all of these experiences. And here's the thing about experiences. Everything we do is linear. And so here's the example of 3 of those experiences. You know, they can get super much deeper than this, but we'll just show 3. The other thing is that they're all super irregular. In fact, it's so irregular that it's broken up into tasks, steps, or to-dos, because how many of these customer journeys or things that we do, we're able to just do everything from start to finish all the way through without getting interrupted or getting distracted or, you know, wanting to go grab a bite to eat really quickly in between, you know, meetings, so on and so forth. In fact, we're so irregular that we regularly do things out of logical order. And we rarely follow the order or continuous path that we imagine and design for, like I mentioned before. I mean, they're even just out of sequence, right? And they are, or they can be very complex, and with them all vying for our attention all the time, not all the tasks are created equal. Like, see this big red swoosh, like maybe that is like, if you like to do your own taxes, or, something that's just super tedious and requires a lot of your attention and focus, that's great, extremely important, these things, what's the likelihood that you're going to be doing something else that's equally important or equally as complex in your very next task? Maybe the next task is like, drinking a beer. Maybe it's just relaxing and listening to, another experience of just like listening to, a podcast, something that's just more chill, right? So to better design for attention, we should try and understand it a little bit more. I'm going to hopefully help you do that. Attention, first off, it is the most valuable currency in the world. I say currency because I like to think about it. Whether you're rich or poor, the most precious thing that you can give away is your attention. In fact, there's this phrase all the time, and I always giggle. I just giggle. Whenever I hear someone say, "Hey, can I have your undivided attention?" I was like, "Oh, well, that's going to be really tough," because there's always things for me and for everyone that's constantly asking for your attention. Whether you want to give it or not, sometimes you don't have a control. The focus is choosing where to give your attention. In fact, do I have your attention right now? I mean, do I? So I'm going to challenge you on that. What if you didn't go to the restroom right before this talk? Maybe you're getting a text message and you're having to, constantly look over. Maybe you are in the restroom right now, actually, since it's virtual. Maybe your kids are making a lot of noise. Maybe they're climbing over your shoulders. Like, we can't tell, but like, these are all things, whether small or literally climbing over your back, are things that grab your attention. Attention is initiated by signals to the brain. 5 of them, actually. So we all know these, right? Touch, taste, smell, sight, sound. And we can create more meaningful memories by being more receptive with our senses. So let's start simple and visual. Like, that's probably the most well-known, right? So if it's just you're opening a newspaper, for those of you that still do that, the very traditional way of getting a visual medium, whether it's left to right, top to bottom, front to back, text, images, space, contrast, so many different things guide and flow your attention, down the page. If it's in your hands, if it's in virtual space in 3 dimensions, like, these are ways that your attention can be explored and guided. Let's look at a couple more and make this a little bit more complex, but also a little bit more simple. So one of the things that I like to do in my experiences is, like to watch movies, right? But also love to spend time with the family. And so one of the things we do is we like to have a movie night, but movies that are focused around food and movies. So like, we watch Home Alone, and we always order pizza because of the little Nero's pizza at the very beginning. I know it's weird, but we love it because not only do you get a visual, satisfaction of watching the movie, you get to hear it, right? But you also get touch and taste even. So maybe this is even 4. So it just makes that experience much more memorable. And, we do the same thing with E.T., with Reese's Pieces candy. So there's a lot of them that we do that with, but it just makes it more memorable. So what about 5 senses all at once? I'm going to reach back into time, and I'm going to pull a package of Pop Rocks out of my pocket, and I'm going to sprinkle it over the screen, because Pop Rocks give you all 5 senses, and you get touch, taste, smell, sound, and the visual. If you pour them in and you open your mouth, those things will just literally shoot out of your mouth, so you can even see them. So it's just crazy. So So how do we know what exactly to pay attention to? Is so many things just hitting us all the time, right? To do that, here's my understanding of how attention gets processed in our brain. So first off, we gather. So our brain is like a wet sucker in a pile of dry autumn leaves. I mean, we literally, it sticks to everything. And we gather with all 5 of our senses. Then we deconstruct and we start to make associations and patterns. Sounds a lot like AI, right? We seek to synthesize and then make sense. Then we present something new to register and try to understand or make sense of, right? We use cognitive registering to build data until we can resolve and understand how this new thing should be used. And then this object or idea is neatly put together into our brain's digital library, so that then the next time we recognize it, it will be something that we know what to do with or know how to base our next opinion or recognition off of. However, it's uniquely in our own perspective. To go way back in looking at how people do this, especially babies do this the most noticeably. The first thing that they do is they grab and probably, so they'll grab, you get touch, and then they immediately put it in their mouth, because then that's how, taste is a very important sense for a baby, because that's how they recognize what's important to them, right? So going back to understanding, our understanding is really uniquely ours. Whether this is a cone with some stripes on it or not. Philosopher Galen Strawson had this great thing to say: perceptions are transactions between the perceiver and the thing perceived. And how we perceive things is 100% dependent on our perspective. In fact, it's the thing that's in between, whether it's a circle or it's a bullseye, or if it's a cone, it's the things that are in between. It's our experiences, our tendencies, our biases, even some of it's just in our DNA. Like, there's all these things that distort what would be considered the truth, and you almost would want to question, like, what is the truth? Well, really, it all is relative to your perspective. And, from our perspective, we all see things differently. I have my own school of thought, and you have yours. I like to call it your university. I'm kind of having fun with the word because it just works so well. But when you have multiple people and multiple perspectives, you have more than one. So I like to think about it as diversity, because you take the same elements and you interpret it from a different perspective. You get a different look at it altogether. And, and then that's where the really great ideas come from. So if we want to, well, really, we must admit all if we want the best solutions. As the saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. But you always have a chance to change your last impression. And it's very important for you to understand that, because you should never set limits on changing someone's mind, because minds can be changed. How many times have you ever had a first impression of something or someone, and then say, oh wow, I underestimated or I overestimated? It's never your first impression. So let me reiterate that. It's not your first impression, and it never has been. So don't think of just that. Don't dismiss anyone or anything just because of their first impression. It's really making a lasting one. As a marketer or a product designer, you really want to make your customer, you want to form for your customer the best impression of your experience or your brand that they can get. So I'm going to give you some examples of replacing lasting impressions. First off, in this day and age of being safe and cautious, and want to make sure that we're respecting cleanliness, going shopping in the grocery store is kind of a scary thing now. So you're trusting a shopping cart and making sure that it's clean, and so you to put all these food and other things that you're going to be taking to your home. So making sure, solving the problem of having a very safe and clean shopping cart is really important. So a very great lasting impression is having your grocery store have somebody greeting you at the entrance and maybe even the exit, right, cleaning the carts, because that instills that, like, hey, we respect, and this is a personal token that, hey, this is very important to us, and we understand that it's important to you. So that's a lasting impression. Second, I'm kind of making this one up. I think this is a really good example of a digital one. What about a generous custom in-store coupon that are given to people that are opting out of email advertisements? That is a great lasting impression for people that may or may not be interested in your brand anymore, but giving them a lasting impression, giving them a very generous in-store coupon, leaves an impression, whether they use it or not. Then lastly, providing, I like to go to Valvoline because they constantly come up to me and tell me what they're doing. I can always hear what they're doing. They're communicating, even though they probably don't even have to do this, but they literally show me the dipstick of hey, we want to show you that the oil is in there up to the line. I'm like, okay, I don't really know if I would even know that it's not, I don't know, maybe, but it just, for me, it provides another level of service that I didn't even ask for, which is a really great change in the lasting impression of, usually when I take my car somewhere, the last thing I want is having somebody come up to me and tell me, hey, while we did this, you need to buy these other things. So since they do that all the time, they're always respecting me and my opinion, and telling me, and just showing me things, and giving me a lot of trust in them, I'm more open for them to sell me, hey, you need some more windshield wipers, hey, you need your air filter changed. I feel much more comfortable to say yes, and that I'm not being taken advantage of. So that's a lasting impression on them, and that's something that they do all the time. It's really great. So all those examples bring together two things that, in addition to order and attention, makes your impressions even more memorable. Is making it personal and adding respect. So these, combined with an understanding for your customers' personal intention, and by respecting the way and the order of the things that they do, you can be sure that you're leaving a lasting impression. So going back to my crazy line of experiences, thinking of, you should really think about what your experiences look like on a day-to-day basis. Think about it and try to get in the frame set of what your customers could be going through as well. So how will you direct your order, and how will you direct your attention at the beginning and ending of every one of your experiences? And what happens when you can neatly put them together and connect the dots back from your customer's destination, much like yours, in the way that best serves their unique needs in a memorable way? So, to recap, in this presentation, I've highlighted the custom and customer, and that our customers have shared outcomes. I've also shared some real-life complexities and experiences, and how sensitive our attention really is. We've also learned how we form decisions, and how we dig into differences between a first impression and a lasting impression, and how they really require our personal attention, order, and respect to make a lasting impression that we can really strive for. This was neatly put together so that today I can make a lasting impression in you. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate your attention. So if I don't know how much time I actually have, if I have 35 minutes or if it's 45 minutes, but that's the conclusion of my presentation. But if there are questions or anything like that,
Hey, Brian, you've got 5 more minutes.
okay.
Yeah.
So if
questions.
you guys have some questions, I can answer them. But we'll just play it by ear.
Yeah, that was awesome. Really cool. I like how you said attention is the best thing that you've got, the most precious thing you have. Awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, you think about it. There's just so many different examples of giving attention all around you, and it's so hard. You think about going through your day, and it's really about being self-aware. If you're going through, I like to think about this sometimes is like people that say that they can lucid dream, and it's like, okay, you should always ask yourself, am I dreaming all the time? And then determine, it's like, okay, am I dreaming all the time? Am I dreaming all the time? And then when you're in the dream, you can control your dreams. So then in this case, like, check yourself during the day. Are you aware of your attention? A lot of times I started doing this, it was like, I didn't even realize that my attention was going in all these different directions. And I realized the more I started to become aware of it, the more, the better I was at designing and guiding my attention. And that goes into a lot of what I do for a living, and how I just foresee and go through all my daily experiences. So got one here. What's the best way to customize your customer? So I would say, let's see, customize your customer. So that can be a lot of different things. So I think it's really gonna, going back to one of the things I said, there's ways you can look at personas. A lot of times personas are just understanding, okay, what is this person like? What are their tendencies? What's their style? What are their maybe reasons for choosing different things? So you can kind of get in the head of your customers. But you should also look at, like, what are their daily experiences look like? What's important to them that's not just style based or preference based, but like what are the important experiences that they're going through? And how does your experience of the thing that you want to put them into, or that you would like them to be a part of your customer experience, like how do you fit that into their custom experience? They are the customer, and as the old saying goes, the customer is always right. So yeah.
Yeah, and so we got 2 more minutes. Yeah, and on your previous comment, that's where I think the meditating's helped me a lot, become more self-aware of why am I feeling this, or why did I react to that, and just doing that consistently. It's helped a lot. Really, really cool.
Something that I do, I thought about sharing this in here, and it's funny you say meditation, but like something that I like to do, because I feel like sometimes I don't always have time to, like, okay, I gotta focus so much to meditate, but sometimes I'll check, like I'll take my 2 fingers and I'll check my pulse, and it's kind of like a very lo-fi way of kind of just
checking in.
Yeah, checking in, because you know what, no matter how crazy or frantic you think your day is, or you could always check back to that rhythm that you have that's beating right there inside your heart, and your pulse is the way to kind of ground you, because you know what, it's there and it's ready right there for you, and you can build, start at your pulse and then build on top of that. So
yeah, no, that's actually really cool. Very cool. I think we've got about 1 minute left, and then I think we'll be good. But yeah, that was excellent. Very, very relaxing. I like it.
So since I have 1 minute left, I want to say this is kind of my Price is Right moment. So I'm going to give a shout out to my creative team at Capital One, Jesse, Drew, Will, Mike. If you guys are listening, awesome. I'm saying hi to you guys. All the the people at Capital One. So thanks for joining. If you guys are on, probably have 30 seconds left now.
Well, yeah, and the session is going to be recorded, so you can actually push it to them later, and
Awesome.
they'll see the shout out, which is nice. Oh, there's Mike. Very nice. So yeah, I think we're done. Brian, thank you so much for your speech today. That was terrific. Presentation was excellent. Again, everybody can check out the recorded version later, which will be awesome as well. But thank you again for your participation. Anything you want to say before we go, or how people can follow you, or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Yeah, forgot to hit my last slide, but I'm on Twitter and Instagram at @BTamayo, and then you should be able to find me. Look at my face. That's the one on LinkedIn.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Yeah, thanks for everybody.
All right, thank you, Brian. We'll all go ahead and come off, leave the session. But thank you, everybody, and thank you again, Brian. Talk soon. Thank you, buddy.
All right, thanks.